the money is always phenomenal to me when you think about WNBA salaries versus NBA salaries. I mean, if I'm correct, she's getting a salary. Caitlin's getting a salary about $76,000 a year. Obviously, she's got endorsement money coming at her too as well. And now you got the WNBA is in playoff or in contract talks with the players union. Where do you see that going? I mean, is there a strike? Are they going to be able to up the money for the players and what they're currently getting? It seems outrageous to me that they're. I mean, it's just my personal opinion. $76,000 a year. When you think about that, that's better than some reporters do, slightly. To put it into our shared profession here, it's just surprising to me to see that someone who could draw these many crowds can only get 76,000 bucks. I mean, obviously I'm aware that, that's probably higher, more money than, the average household income in the United States. But still, it just seems when you think about it compared to the NBA, certainly Steph Curry, who you mentioned earlier, outrageous.
Right. Although they didn't have those crowds before Caitlin Clark, and she's coming into a pay structure that happens before she arrives. So that's right. So that's part of it. As the nation was aware when she was drafted, and then that came out, $76,000. As a comparison, the top pick in the NBA draft is 57 million.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's apples to apples.
Yeah.
57 million, 76,000. So it does sound terrible. But then I asked the question, I'm not asking you to answer it, but just in general, generic throwing it out there. All the people that were upset about all this, did you ever go to a WNBA game?
Right.
Did
Sure.
you ever buy tickets?
Yeah.
Did you ever buy a t-shirt? Did you ever watch a WNBA game? Did you ever buy products that were being advertised during the game? And of course, the answer was no. For the vast majority of Americans, obviously, people have gone to NBA games for years. Also, the NBA has been around for decades longer than the WNBA. So the WNBA was getting short shrift by everyone and being ignored by the male-dominated mainstream sports media. I know, because I would fight for it and write, columns or go on radio shows and get laughed at, as I said earlier.
Sure.
That's fine. But that was the mindset. It's important to place this in time and to answer your question properly, that, it's capitalism.
Yeah.
And the WNBA is losing money. And so that's why the salaries are so low. Now there's a new TV deal. Thank you, Caitlin Clark. And again, I wish it had been Maya Moore. I wish Maya Moore had been as famous, but Maya Moore couldn't sell out the Target Center in Minneapolis.
Yeah.
I mean, let's just be honest. Paige Beckers, people talk, oh, well, Paige Beckers is now there, so that's going to be a huge help. Right. It's not. Paige Beckers cannot sell out a 7,000 seat arena in Dallas. Check this, unless I missed one, the entire season, the attendance has never hit 7,000.
Right. Wow.
Consider that. Right. So it is a product that people care about because of Caitlin Clark.
Right.
And when I say that, I hear that people get mad at me for saying it. Facts are facts. It's Caitlin Clark, folks. Yeah. I wish it had been so many other players, especially Black women in a 74% Black league. Yeah. I was covering it and would have been great. I covered Sheryl Swoopes at the Women's Final Four when they won the NCAA title. Yeah. I wish Sheryl Swoopes had been the person that everyone in the country was talking about.
Sure.
Was she, Doug? No, she was not. Yeah. Right. So these are the facts that the WNBA is dealing with. Now salaries are going to go up. TV contract is better. Whatever. But keep in mind also, if they're talking, there is some chatter about a work stoppage. Yep. Oh my goodness. That would be an absolutely devastatingly terrible decision.
Right.
This.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to keep the momentum going, you better keep playing, right?
I just said, and I'm not laughing at you, I'm laughing at anyone who thinks this is like a time that is the time to do that.
Sure.
Again, I've been lucky enough to cover the NFL for years, cover big time men's sports, and of course Olympics and women's and tennis and golf, whatever. Are you kidding me? Paige Beckers cannot sell out a 7,000 seat arena. Right. And I'm not picking on Paige, she's a great player. Sure. But until they can sell out those arenas, right. The Indiana Fever have the highest road attendance by far. Right. The only time that the Dallas Wings were able to move to the bigger arena and sell it out or get close to selling it out was when Indiana came to town. Right. This is the issue with the Washington Mystics. I'm talking to you from here in DC.
Sure.
Sheila Johnson, I've known forever. She's a friend. I like her a lot. I've given her ample opportunity to explain her decision, her conversation that she said on CNN, where she talked about how Caitlin Clark should not have been the athlete of the year on Time Magazine. It should have been the league of the year. I've never heard of anything so absolutely ridiculous in my life, said by an owner who literally moved the games, Caitlin Clark games, from the 4,200 seat arena. That was the size that worked for the Mystics.
Yeah.
4,200 seat arena.
Wow.
We're talking about more salaries. Think about the lack of revenue from a 4,200 seat arena. Beautiful place. I love it.
Sure.
It did seem to be the right size a couple of years ago, pre Caitlin Clark.
Sure.
She moved to the over 20,000 seat arena. And that was what Sheila Johnson did to make money off of Caitlin Clark.
Yeah.
Those are the facts. Why they can't, I don't know why they can't be honest about it. Why they feel, as Sheila Johnson said, I quote her in the book, I give everyone a chance to talk and explain whatever they want to explain about their decisions or their quotes. Went bent over backwards with Sheila 3, 4, 5 times. Talk to me. I want to give you a chance to explain this. Where she looks at, hurt feelings. People have their feelings hurt. What on earth, Doug? What on earth is hurt feelings? We are raising these young women just like we're raising our young men now, learning how to lose at a young age, win at a young age, teamwork, sportsmanship, leadership. And now we're hearing from people that hurt So Caitlin Clark is their absolutely economic rocket ship.
Yeah.
So the conundrum is this. Their jealousy or the anger or whatever, the feelings about Caitlin Clark that make people sad or unhappy, like Sheila Johnson is saying, it should be the whole league. So that's going on while they want, as you just asked me about, of course, collective bargaining agreement. It's open now, the conversation. There's only one thing that really matters. It's Caitlin Clark. So the conundrum is they need Caitlin Clark desperately, even as they want her to, I don't know, be minimized. I've never seen anything so ridiculous in my life. I covered it in the book. I'll cover it in the paperback. I cover it in every conversation I have because I'm a journalist. I'm not a fan and I'm not a PR person for them. It's truly astounding. But if they were to say we're going to walk out or whatever, that is absolutely the absolute worst decision probably any sports league would ever make. And I've seen some really dumb ones in the past from other sports leagues. But you just cannot shut this down at this moment. But the players, I mean, where are the agents? Where are the general managers? Where are people explaining, helping to these players understand? Not because they're damsels in distress. They're smart, educated, college grads. They're great Title IX products. But what on earth doesn't make you see that it's Caitlin Clark? It's all Caitlin Clark.
Right.
And I wish it had been others, but it's not. So accept it and run with it and ride that rocket ship to a whole new economic heights. To fight it and to want to shut down potentially. When I heard someone say, "Yeah, we might strike," oh my goodness, that would just be, as I said, I think the worst decision we would have ever seen in sports labor negotiations.
Sure. What is the Fever and Caitlin Clark? What do they need to accomplish this year?
Well, this has been an incredibly disappointing year for the Fever. Obviously, all the injuries. Caitlin Clark, never injured,
Right.
as you know, I have in the book.
Yeah.
Last game she missed prior to this year was sophomore year of high school, one game with a badly sprained ankle,
Yeah.
and now she has missed far more games than she's played in. And as we talk today, we're not sure when she's coming back and if she'll be back in the final 4 games of the regular season or then the playoffs, assuming there's a pretty strong chance that the Fever will make the playoffs, just a little chance that they would not, but you never know. So, the dream scenario for the Fever is that Caitlin Clark does come back in the next couple of games, plays great. They go into the playoffs and then they go on a run. Right. Because with Caitlin Clark back and with the team, even though they've been decimated by other injuries, Sophie Cunningham, Ari McDonald, so many others are out. But the idea of having the opportunity to have Caitlin Clark back and make a run in the playoffs, that would be the dream scenario and would salvage certainly at least a good portion, or at least the finishing touch, just so to speak. It would salvage that of a season that has been incredibly disappointing for a team that was expecting so much more.
Sure. Let me ask you this. You like Caitlin Clark, you're a breakthrough player in your chosen profession here. What was opening day like when you're in the Miami Herald sports department? I mean, I mean, there you are, the sole woman And I remember seeing a lot of sports departments. They were always filled with men. There weren't many women there at all, at least, back in the 70s and the 80s. Obviously, that's changed quite a bit since that period of time. But you are the first one in the door in many ways. You're the Caitlin Clark, if you will, of your day, going in there. I mean, how is it? Is it weird, strange, uncomfortable? And what are they having you do?
Yeah, so I went to Northwestern. I felt it was the best journalism school in the country then. I think that now. I'm a professor of practice at Northwestern. I'm also on the board of trustees at Northwestern, but it certainly involved very much with the Medill School of Journalism. So undergrad and master's. So I was launched into the career of my dreams and knew sports so well. Played six-sport athlete in high school. We had season tickets at Michigan football games, season tickets, University of Toledo football. My dad and our dad took us to, tons of Detroit Tigers games, White Sox games. We went to visit relatives and grandparents in Chicago. So I knew sports so well, kept score of games off the radio, always baseball games, football, you name it. So, and then of course, the best journalism school, in my humble opinion, in the country. So I also had 4 internships during my time at Northwestern, and I tell students all the time, internships are key. It's very different now in terms of job opportunities for sure, but get an internship, get that experience. So my last one was in between my undergrad and my master's year at the Miami Herald. So I'd worked there that summer. Things went very well. They actually sent me on a trip, which they never sent interns actually on a plane to go to. I went to Tampa to do some Tampa Bay Buccaneers stories. So then they hired me back as their first full-time female sports writer after I got my master's degree. So, I was totally ready for this and nothing was going to get in my way. I'm 5'11" and a half, almost 6 feet tall. I was raised by my parents to be very confident, very comfortable. Sports gave me that incredible ability to know that it was a place for me. All the boys who wanted to play sports with me growing up because I was tall, because I was good. And they wanted to shoo all the other girls away, which is too bad, but they wanted me. They picked me first to come and play baseball with them or football or whatever, ride bikes, whatever, all the fun things we did as kids growing up. So I always felt sports was welcoming. So I felt completely at home. Summer internships, the Toledo Blade before that, Lexington, Kentucky as part of a Northwestern program, and then the Herald. So first day when I parked, I just wanted to make sure I figured out what door to go in, what elevator to go up. And, I wasn't worried about being the first woman because I just interned there 8-9 months earlier.
Right.
And things went well. And so now I'm back and it's everybody and all the guys and they treat me like a sister. And I had great support, great help. And sure, there was some teasing, but everyone got teased back then.
Right.
It's 1981. It shouldn't have happened. But I ignored, like I was one guy, a dear friend to this day, actually, teased and said, called me the skirt. Hey, skirt. That would be a fireable offense now, and it should be a fireable offense now in the workplace. But this was not now. And so he also probably said all kinds of terrible things to various people who from different nationalities, guys, and someone was heavy set or whatever. So I ignored it. So if that was intending to bother me, I laughed and moved on because nothing was going to stop me from the career of my dreams. And I feel that way today. I love it more today than the day I started. But I also had a sports editor, Paul Anger, who was immediately said, "You're important to us. And we are, you're going to be covering," they put me on the Florida Gators beat, football beat. So I did some copy editing that spring and summer and then went right up to, it was on the road wherever the Gators were in the Southeastern Conference, either in Gainesville or on the road with them. So I was away every weekend. But that was when it was the Miami Herald was a top 10 newspaper. So what an incredible thing. Lots of Northwestern friends, my college friends were there. But also this is before Miami had baseball, right. NBA, MLB, NBA, or hockey. So it was the Miami Dolphins, and then it was the 3 main colleges, Florida, Florida State, and Miami. So they hired 22-year-old me and put me right on one of the biggest 4 beats in the sports department. So I was treated incredibly equally and fairly. And when I've been asked many times about any discrimination or anything that happened to me, I'm so fortunate it did not. Yeah. But that's one of the reasons that 4 dear friends founded the Association for Women in Sports Media. And then I was the first president.
Oh, nice.
I could fight for women who did not have the great leaders, mostly male sports editors that I had, who gave me those incredible opportunities and fought for me to have equal rights and equal pay or better from the get-go. Whereas so many women were not getting that at smaller newspapers. And so that's why I've dedicated my career to fight for women who have not had those opportunities and make sure there's equality for women in sports media. What I had, but what, of course, a lot of women did not have. So that's been one of my life's great goals and great joys is to fight for women who didn't have what I had.
Is there a sport in particular that you enjoy covering the most that beats out all the others?
Well, I love covering the Olympics. I'm gearing up for my 22nd Olympics in a row, winter and summer, from
Yeah,
LA in 84 all the way now. It will be Milan, the Winter Olympics in
yeah,
February 2026. So I love covering figure skating at the Winter Olympics. I've written several books, best-selling books on that. And figure skating, drama, the interest, the intrigue, the judges, the cheating, the Russians, the more cheating from Russians than anywhere else. Cover all that, break that news, love it, love to do that. As much as it's obviously not good if some of the bad things happening in figure skating, but I'm able as a journalist to break those stories and expose those things and sexual abuse in the sport. And then Summer Olympics, certainly love covering swimming. I have covered swimming and figure skating throughout my career. Again, the drama and the interest in those sports. I love covering golf. I love playing golf. I was just obviously a few minutes ago so critical
yeah.
of golf in some ways, but our dad made sure his daughters as well as his son felt comfortable on a golf course. And I'm being a tall girl growing up, the oldest of four kids. I got full blast, dad with sports and wanting me to play them. So I love golf, love covering golf. I think I enjoy covering that individual athlete who's on, whether it's the Olympic sports, it could be track and field, gymnastics as well at the Summer Olympics, speed skating, Bonnie Blair, so many, Dan Jansen and others over the years. And then, of course, golf, the same thing where the athlete creates the action. And so, yeah, but I certainly love covering basketball as I worked on this book, and Caitlin Clark's story and journey was fascinating as well.
It's a great story. At the Washington Post, if I'm correct, you were the first woman at the paper to actually cover the football team. What was that like? How are you treated by the players and the coaches?
Well, I wrote a whole piece that people can find in my 3 years covering I hate to say the name now because it's so racist, but the Skins.
Yeah.
And it was okay because the NFL had not yet. It's quite a long story. I don't know that we want to get into it here, but Commissioner Pete Rozelle issued an edict that all teams had to have equal access for male and female reporters because can you imagine, being at the Washington Post or the Miami Herald, not being able to do my job, not being able to go in and interview athletes? They want us in the locker room and there's cameras in the locker room. And thankfully this was resolved in 1985. So folks, if you're hearing this and you're getting mad that women are in the locker room, it was resolved 40 years ago. So we're not reopening this. Believe it or not, Doug, if this topic comes up, there's some guys out there, I don't know what's wrong with them, that want to then relitigate it.
Yeah.
40 years, guys, 40 years it's been resolved. But the Washington Post fought to make sure that I had equal access, of course. And Joe Gibbs, great guy, great coach. I was in the locker room and it was fine. I was from the Washington Post. If there's a bigger institution than the football team in Washington, it's the Washington Post.
Absolutely.
So I had Catherine Graham, Ben Bradley, George Solomon, all on my side. I was going to be treated correctly, and I was all 3 years. It was perfect. Joe Gibbs was classy and great and wonderful. I think arguably the greatest coach in NFL history, winning 3 Super Bowls with 3 quarterbacks, not a one of whom will make the Hall of Fame. That there's no other coach you can say at the level, Lombardi, Walsh, Chuck Noll. You can say that. You can't say that about any of them, but you can about Joe Gibbs. And so he was classy and great, and to have a woman covering the team was new for him, but I understood that. We worked it out, handled great. Again, the Washington Post, the behemoth that was on my side every step of the way. So it worked out great. And again, I'm not a fan. People ask me, do you care? Nope. If they go 0-16 or 16-0, I'm a journalist. I'm covering this team.
Not up to you. It's not up to you to make sure they win or lose. That's up to them. Let me ask you, were you there the night when Joe Theismann got his leg broken when he played the Giants?
I was a beat writer covering the team then. Yep, absolutely covered that. Wrote the game story that night for sure. Yes, and covered the whole Theismann injury, and then broke the news that he had a Lloyd's of London insurance policy, which was why he kept saying he was going to try to come back when he couldn't come back, because he had to do that to make sure he got his, what was it, $300,000 or $400,000, which was huge money at the time. So yes, I know, and every now and then I run into Joe Theismann, Super Bowl, airport, and always great to see him.
Yeah, yeah. I remember watching that game that night and seeing that go down, and I was like, wow, that must have been something else to see and to happen to him like that. Well, look, Christine, thank you so very, very much for all of your time today. You have been very, very generous. We certainly went longer than I expected us to go, but you tell a wonderful story. Very engaging. It's a great story, and obviously not only about Caitlin Clark and basketball, but also all about sports and Title IX and what it does and what it means. It'll be interesting to see how this goes and how this develops down the road too, as well. Uh,
Absolutely. Yeah. Watching Caitlin Clark is watching Title IX personified. And again, what a delight to report on this. And I will continue to stay on this story for the book, for the paperback, and also in my day jobs with USA Today and CNN, ABC News, PBS NewsHour. So love covering these kinds of societal issues where sports and culture, is now a 12-lane superhighway, that intersection of sports and culture. So thank you so much, Doug. Really, really appreciate the time.
Christine, thank you so much. And when the next time you write another book, I hope you come back. Love to
I would,
have
I would
you.
love to do it. Let's do it.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you.